Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about something that sounds complicated, but actually pretty much affects all of us. Tariffs. You've probably heard about them in the news, especially when countries like the United States or China get into trade wars. But what exactly are tariffs, and how do they impact your everyday life? Let's dive right in. So, a tariff is basically a tax or duty that one country puts on goods or services that come from another country. So, imagine you're buying a product from overseas, like an iPhone or a fancy piece of furniture. The country that imports that product might charge an extra fee on it. That's a tariff. But why do countries use tariffs then? Well, there's a few big reasons. The first reason is protecting local business. This means governments may want to protect their own industries from foreign competition. If a foreign product is cheaper, local businesses might struggle to compete, so a tariff makes that foreign product more expensive. Raising revenue. Governments can also use tariff to make money, especially if they want to fund projects, programs, and even important things like the military or police, or hospitals or whatever. Encouraging fairness. Sometimes tariffs are used to punish another country for things like unfair trade practices, violating agreements, or something along the lines of that, basically. So, how do tariffs actually work in real life? Let's say the US wants to put a 10% tariff on steel from China. That means if China exports 1 ton of steel to the US for $100, the US would add $10 tariff. So the total cost becomes $110. But here's the thing. Tariffs don't always get paid by the government. The importer, like a company bringing in goods, usually has to pay that tariff. And guess what? They often pass the cost on to us, the consumers. So you might end up paying more for your products, whether it's steel, clothes, or even your next phone. Let's take a quick look at a real-world example. Back in 2018, during the US-China trade war, the US slapped tariffs on $250 billion worth of Chinese goods, including electronics, clothing, and even food. China responded by putting tariffs on US goods like soybeans and cars. This led to higher prices on things like phones, laptops, and even shopping bags. And here's the kicker. Consumers in both countries felt the pinch. US businesses had to pay higher prices for Chinese goods, and Chinese consumers saw prices rise for US imports. Now, like anything, tariffs do have their pros and cons. Well, one pro is it protects domestic industries. Tariffs make it harder for foreign products to flood the market, which helps local businesses stay competitive. It boosts government revenue. Tariffs can bring in money that can be used for government projects, departments, and whatever else. Some cons are it's a higher price for consumers. That's right, tariffs often result in higher prices for the stuff we buy. Trade wars. If other countries retaliate, it can lead to a trade war, where tariffs keep escalating. And that hurts both economies. It disrupts global supply chains. Companies rely on parts from all over the world, and tariffs can really mess up that balance. So, to wrap it up, tariffs are taxes on imported goods that can raise prices and protect local businesses. They can be useful for governments, but they also tend to hurt consumers in the end, and when countries start imposing too many tariffs on each other, it can turn into a trade war, which is not fun for anyone. An example of trade wars are like the current one in 2025 going on between the United States and China, where Donald Trump has placed pretty large tariffs on Chinese goods and imports, which has resulted in further Chinese retaliation, which followed by US retaliation and everything like that. Anyways, now you know what tariffs are, how they work, and why they matter. So next time you hear about tariffs in the news, you'll know exactly what's going on. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. If you've got any questions about tariffs or trade, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to chat with you about it. See you in the next one.